Some new protection is on the way to help fight off several viruses expected to hit hard in the coming months. Flu shots are now available. New COVID boosters are coming soon. And for the first time, there are vaccines to protect babies and older adults from RSV. Health and wellness reporter Lauren Petty has doctors' recommendations for each.
Starting this fall, new babies have new protection against RSV.
The RSV vaccine for kids is basically a monoclonal antibody that is recommended for all children under 8 months of age who are going into their first RSV season.
Pediatric offices are just waiting for the shots to arrive.
People have tried to order it, but they're still waiting for their orders to come in.
But it's not just babies that get sick with RSV. 2 vaccines are now approved for adults over age 60, especially those with chronic medical conditions.
Her recommendation is to have a conversation with your doctor to weigh in what your risk of RSV is.
Flu shots are recommended for anyone over 6 months old, and there's one big change this year. The CDC removed precautions for people with egg allergies.
This is very important because that gives people options. So there's options to get any kind of vaccines, including the intranasal vaccines and the flu shots.
When it comes to flu shots, we often look to the southern hemisphere to see how this year's formula did. And the CDC says it was 52% effective at keeping people out of the hospital.
With both flu and COVID vaccine, it offers some protection, offers a lot of protection against severe illness.
Which leads us to the new COVID boosters. Here's what we know.
It's brand new. It's really targeted against the most recent variants of COVID that we've seen, and it's actually proven to be fairly effective.
We're expected to get more details after a CDC advisory committee meets next Tuesday.
It is hoped that they will recommend the COVID booster for anyone who wants to receive it. And COVID vaccines can be given to any individual 6 months of age and older.
That means an adult over the age of 60 is eligible for a COVID booster, flu shot, and RSV vaccine. So can you get them all at the same time?
You can get all 3 of these if you're eligible at the same time.
Lauren Petty with that report. Our thanks to Lauren.
Let's take you through. So we're going to meet Lillian very briefly, who is one of the first people to receive her COVID vaccine this morning. Jane is just getting that injection ready. How are you this morning, Lillian?
Very well, thank you.
Explain why you felt it was so important to come forward this morning and have your jab.
Well, it's very important. Everybody has a jab. Those people that don't have it cause trouble for others, don't they?
Thank you very much, Lillian.
Those people that don't have it cause trouble for others, don't they? Thank you very much, Lillian. Thank you very much, Lillian.
We're going to leave Lillian to have her jab now, and just sort of really briefly again to Sarah. We're trying to add this up before we go there. Number 7, I think, COVID jab for people like you. Is there a danger of so-called vaccine fatigue that people just think, I've had enough of this now, I don't want to do this again?
Yeah, I think possibly so from the younger generation. However, people like Lillian and the vulnerable people in this care home, we see really good uptake, particularly in our primary care network. We've got high levels of vaccination rates, really. So we're hoping for the same again this time.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, that's it for us this morning. We have one little quick word for Lillian before you. Lillian, how was that?
Very all right.
No problem whatsoever.
No.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. They're going to go on with their vaccination programme this morning. We'll speak to you later in the programme.
Now, health officials across the globe are keeping a watchful eye on the new strain of coronavirus.
The variant, unofficially named Pirona?
Don't look at me.
Pirona has already been detected in the UK and has been described as the most striking strain since Omicron.
Well, Dr. Zoe is joining us now with more of the story, and I think it's really important whenever you mention coronavirus, I sort of feel that people just go, oh gosh, not again.
Rather than waiting to find out if it is dangerous, let's vaccinate people a bit sooner, just in case.
But there's nothing for us to worry about.
Nothing for us to worry about. Go about your business as normal, but I would say if you do have a cold, then think about things like hand washing, wearing a mask when you're out in public, and my advice would be to do a test, and if it's positive, then to isolate for 3 days.
for President Biden every single day, and I love working for President Biden every single day.
So today, as you all saw just an hour or so ago, President Obama announced that, President Biden. Whoa!
If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony.
My strong sense is that he has a heck of a lot of influence, and he's actually pulling the strings. What do you make?
Well, you've got the biographer, Mr. Guerra, who wrote a very definitive biography on Barack Obama's younger years, saying that there are people from the White House going in and out of Barack Obama's home in Washington, D.C. on a regular basis. He certainly thinks he's pulling strings, and I think he's probably got pretty good reasons to believe that that's exactly the case.
There's a very simple thing that you can do to help that waste come out and be eliminated. It's called oil pulling. Oil pulling has been known for centuries all through Europe. I myself have only known about it for about 10 years. What is oil pulling? It's putting a spoonful, if you're not used to it, start with a teaspoon, putting a small spoonful of oil, I prefer coconut oil, in the mouth and then swishing. So swish, swish, swish all around the mouth, and you may do it for 10 minutes. You might swish for 30 seconds and rest for 30 seconds, something like that. Now, at the moment, our coconut oil is clear because it is so hot. In the winter, it's solid, then it's quite white. But when it is liquid, it is clear. And I say to our guests, when you spit the coconut oil out on the grass, please not down the sink because it could go solid and clog up our drains. Spit it out on the grass. As you spit it out, you will see it is no longer clear. It is white, indicating the change that has taken place as the waste is pulled out of your tongue, as the waste is pulled out of the glands under your tongue, as the waste is pulled out of the blood vessels under your tongue, and this is everything that oil pulling does. So it's called oil pulling because you're using oil, and as you swish, it pulls out waste from your tongue and from under your tongue. I've also known people to conquer gingivitis, that's sore gums, bleeding gums, by oil pulling every day. I suggest that our guests on the detox program oil pull maybe about 3 times a day, especially on the juicing days. You get better at it. One lady said she started to oil pull and after a minute she couldn't bear it anymore. I said, that's all right, spit it out. Next time you do it, if you go 1.5 minutes, you'll be doing well. I'm so used to it now. I oil pull every morning. I need to do this little detox because I travel such a lot and I'm in planes such a lot, and I find it a very effective way at doing a very simple and a very easy detox. Some people prefer olive oil, some people prefer sesame oil. Myself, I prefer coconut oil. One of the reasons I like coconut oil is because underneath the tongue there are sublingual glands which release lingual lipase. And when that lingual lipase connects with the coconut oil, it causes a release of antibacterial properties. So that's another reason why your coconut oil is so good at the oil pulling. So be mindful of your organs of elimination. Give them the right conditions so that they can effectively detoxify you, for we are all subject to environmental poisons.
Oh, wow! Hi! Hi! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, Moody! Oh my goodness!
You want a hat? Yeah. Here you go.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
Give me some knuckles. Have a good night, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness. Say thank you.
The question is, how much is it going to cost? St. Petersburg is the newest city to be chosen to be transformed into a smart city. It's a push to change the way that neighbors in the area live, work, and play. Under a 3-year grant, Spectrum will provide wired and wireless network services focused on the St. Pete Innovation District. Local leaders want to use these new resources to create advanced applications and services that address local needs, including infrastructure, workforce development, public safety, education, and community health.
As pilot projects occur, we will gain insight about what works for our community. Then we can expand those programs throughout the region and share with other cities. We have the Smart Streetlight project, which will be equipped with sensors, and then an online marine science education program where we're going to be having researchers in the field and out on research vessels connected to kids and our Boys and Girls Clubs here in the community.
St. Petersburg joins 26 other cities in the program, which was launched by US Ignite. That nonprofit is working to speed up the smart city movement.
Now that's why Emma was a bit annoyed. Let's try the rear. Should be exactly the same thing, but just on the rear.
The recovery of these kids.
That time of year again, time to start thinking about those flu shots.
Ooh. Also, there's a possible treatment for autism that some say is curing children.
Baxter Burley looks and acts like a normal 6-year-old because he is. That's why it's hard to imagine that at age 3, he had full-blown autism.
The same regional center that gave him the diagnosis, the same group of people, reversed his diagnosis.
Something else that reversed, the amount of mercury in his system. It went from a high level of 13 to what's considered almost negligible, 0.5. No longer considered autistic.
No longer considered autistic. That was a big day. We actually call it the day he lost his diagnosis, we call his second birthday.
We see children that come through that are severely autistic and, you know, within a year they're mainstreamed in school and out of the spectrum. Some children turn around in a number of months, other children take years.
We started with the special diet. We started with lots of supplementation geared at healing his body, helping his body detox from the heavy metal exposure he had. We did chelation, methyl B12 injections. We rented a hyperbaric oxygen chamber for our house.
The self-stimulatory behaviors that we saw so much of are all gone.
He's not covering up his ears. We went from the baby who had no language and no social interaction and was lost in his own world to a child who is very verbal and very social. He's very much engaged in relationships with everybody in the family. Quinn has a best friend. He wants to see his friend every day.
His friend wants to see him.
Are you filming a movie?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're following me everywhere.
He'll say, you know, when I had autism, and then talk about something that we weren't aware of how he was feeling.
Imagine what could have been done to recover these children starting clear back in 1999, when the CDC first realized what was causing autism. Over 12 years later, they continued to tell the same old story.
CDC is not certain how much. Well, there's no simple explanation for the increase. Due to changes in the definition of autism or an improved recognition and increased recognition.
And even though some doctors are recovering these kids, the CDC continues to waste even more critical time by turning a blind eye to it. How much longer will we allow those who have caused this epidemic to be in charge of solving it?
It's a puzzle, and we're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together that way.
Your dreams and thoughts are no longer safe. Watch this.
The image of a giraffe that the computer has never seen. It's only looking at the fMRI data, and this is what the computer thinks the human is seeing. Yeah. But of course it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? Mind you, by the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. But we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So there's a woman, she gets hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See a girl, looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she is knocked off. So our thoughts are starting to be decoded. Yeah. Just think about what this means for authoritarian states, for instance.
Your dreams and thoughts.